Hi guys, today's notes are about the types of weathering. So there's two big categories of weathering or breaking rocks, and those are mechanical and chemical. And if you'd like a quick 4-minute overview, there's a video attached right here from a YouTube video. So let's jump into some examples of mechanical weathering, which is a physical process that breaks a rock in two. So your book begins with ice wedging. Ice wedging is when you have a rock and it has a crack and water seeps into the crack. As that water freezes, it expands. When the water expands, it breaks the rock, leaving a larger hole when the ice melts and evaporates. This is like if you take a water bottle and you fill it to the top and you put it in the freezer at your house. If you do that, the water will expand in the bottle, changing the shape of the bottle and sometimes even breaking the bottle. So this is an example of physically breaking the rock. This also happens to our roads around here in the winter as water seeps into the cracks and expands, causing it to break. And as this happens repeatedly, we end up with potholes. The second type in your book was plant activity. Primarily, this happens through the root action of plants. A plant's roots will get into a tiny crack in the rock, and as the plant's roots grow, it will break the rock apart. You may have seen this in your driveway or sidewalk, and the same thing happens in nature. Animal activity can happen from walking across rocks, as we do, and it causes a crunching or breaking sound. It can also happen as some animals dig and burrow through, physically breaking the rocks. Any temperature change, whether it's freezing or extreme heat, can cause a rock to break as well. Similar to if you were making a clay piece of pottery and that pottery in a kiln were to break because of excessive heat. The last thing that your book goes into with mechanical weathering is abrasion. Abrasion is friction between two objects. Your book spends quite a bit of time talking about abrasion with wind and abrasion with water. When wind or water are continually flowing or blowing or moving against another object, small pieces can break off. For instance, the pitter-patter of rain that we hear when rain is continually hitting on something, each of those little hits works as an agent of mechanical weathering as abrasion takes place to the rock. That can happen with a river flowing downstream, and it can also happen with the wind blowing. So mechanical weathering is when a rock is physically broken in two, whether that be by temperatures, plants or animals, or the movement or abrasion caused by wind and water. Chemical weathering is when a rock chemically changes to create something new, and as that new substance is created, as a chemical reaction takes place, the rock is broken. So your book divides that into acids, and then also into reactions primarily with oxygen. And there's many other things as well. So acid rain and plant acids, both of those are acid reactions. And acids will react with certain minerals in a rock. And as that happens, it can eat away at the rock and cause it to create holes or breaking in them. You also have reaction with oxygen. Any rock that would have iron in it, that iron would react with the oxygen in the water and the air to form rust, and that rust would be able to flake off. The last portion of the book today went into soil formation. Soil is created when rock is weathered. It takes a long time for this to occur. Organic material and plants and animals have an impact on that as well. So to begin the process of creating soil, we have to have sediment, and that happens through mechanical and chemical weathering. As that rock breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces, if the sediment stays placed, we will progress and develop soil there. Sometimes, however, not only is there weathering, but there's also erosion, and the sediment will move somewhere else. Next week, we'll be looking at agents of erosion, and then we'll be moving into our project selection. Make sure you do today's assignment, and if you have any questions, let me know.